Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. This is one of the many webinars we do where we talk to people from different areas of life, different aspects of life about the work they do or about the opinions and the views that they have. And today we're going to talk to Sue Halawa. And Sue used to be a teacher, and she got together with other teachers to form a skills and training network because she wanted to offer services to a whole series of people in disadvantaged communities, people who were migrants, women who were facing abuse very often, people who were on low income, and offer services free of charge. And she did this by getting together with other teachers and developing this network. So it's quite an interesting and also a very enterprising story. So Sue, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me today. Okay, I'm really glad. I'm really glad to be with you today.
Okay, well, can we start, if you can very briefly, because we've got quite a lot of questions because you do so much work. Can you tell us briefly about yourself and your background and why you got involved in starting the Skills Network?
My name is Sue Halawa, and my background, I'm originally Egyptian. And so I belonged to the minority groups. And I faced some of the challenges like other minority groups face. A lot of challenges. But I managed to overcome a lot of these challenges, and it makes me a lot stronger and positive. And I came to this country is about 20 years ago, and was new life to me, different from my life in Egypt. When I was in Egypt, I was studying in university. Then I came here when I just started my career. So I was an overseas teacher, and I managed to get my QTS and managed to do my GCSE in the UK. So, and I quite liked in the UK is they encouraging education and training. And there is a continuous professional development I learned from here as well. So education and training never ends.
All right, so you have this background, you had a teaching background.
But I haven't talked about my teaching in the UK. So I started first and I got my QTS and I worked in the school. And one day I've learned as well because I was English teacher in Egypt. And one day I was invited to the college to see my colleague and as a friend of mine. And then I discovered there's something called ESOL, teaching ESOL. And I didn't know about it before. I said that's exactly that what I was doing in Egypt. And I love that career because when I came to UK, I studied maths and I graduated and I started to become a maths teacher. But my career in Egypt was teaching English as a second language. So I discovered that, and since I discovered that, and it changed the whole everything, prospect of my career and everything. And I started to see a lot of people coming from abroad needed to integrate, needed to speak, needed to communicate, needed to learn about the life in the UK as well. They come with a lot of problems as well. Either their education qualification is not going to be recognized in the UK, and they need more development, and they need someone to guide them. And that's why I studied career advice and guidance to give me the potential to help the people and advise them and become a qualified advisor because I quite like that career as well.
Okay, but I mean, given that background and you decided to start the Skills Network.
Yeah,
that's a very daunting thing to do. So how were you able to do it? How did you go about starting it?
First of all, in 2011, I met with other 3 teachers like me. We're working in a community base. I was delivering a project for another charity organization in one of the mosque and one of the church, and also community organization in the school as well. So I've learned about that, and also the other teachers as well that we working in a community-based educational training providers as well. And because we found the needs in the community and we wanted to help them, to provide them with our skills. And that's what it came to the idea that we can set up something. We went into voluntary action Islington and all of voluntary action Haringey and voluntary action Enfield to seek some advice how we can form like a group. So the trustees were one from Egypt, one from Pakistan, one from Nigeria. So we are different backgrounds. So we actually presenting a minority groups.
Okay, so when you started, because you were working in the areas where there were a lot of disadvantages and poverty, in fact, I mean, you began to concentrate on the BAME communities, didn't you? I mean, why did you think that was a priority?
First of all, we've been working in Islington, in Finsbury Park, and Edmonton. And these two areas, and also in Haringey, in White Hart Lane, these three areas, they fall our concentration of disadvantages. When we used to go and deliver any projects, we see a lot of needs in the community. They come personally and speak to us. I need help here. I need help in applying for this. I need help. So we find there is a need. The people actually speak for themselves. They said, we really need help. A lot of people say, I'm not entitled for any help from the government because they are a spouse. They're not entitled, like especially the people who's, come from abroad with no status in the UK.
So you actually provided support in helping people who felt they didn't know where to go. They didn't know what to do.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's every day, up to date. Yeah. All the people in the community, they're facing a lot. Either isolations, they need the people to see other people to speak with. People, they got lack of skills. People want us employment to improve their life. People, that children, they suffer from poverty. They need to develop to enhance their careers. Even people who works with low income, we've seen a lot of people working now, but their income is very little, especially people working care and cleaning, unskilled jobs. They really need support. They need, so a lot of women facing domestic violence recently is increasing the numbers, and they can't speak. They don't know where to go, and they facing domestic violence, but they're not aware this is domestic violence. Even emotional abuse, it can be domestic violence, but they're not aware of that. But when they come to group and we start to raise awareness, they started to speak up. There's a need in the community, believe me.
So, I mean, do you find that the overriding need is for them to try and sort of fit in, to feel that they can find the services they need, they can find the people they can talk to? What you're doing is something that is desperate for them, and that's providing connection.
First of all, most of this group cannot be accommodated in mainstream provisions, either education or services, because of many reasons, right? And now even mainstream, their lack of funding as well. They're not able as well, like Citizen Advice Bureau, for example. They're doing wonderful job, but not accessible all the time. Not when people need it, they go. Sometimes people go and queue for a quite long time. There's not even to enable them to see any advisor. And sometimes they are desperate for help. They have some issue with housing. They have issue with employment. They have issue with immigration. They have lots of different issues, and they really need support now. They can't wait any longer. So yes, so these people, they cannot be accommodated. They need service which is local to them. People understand that they need people that they can go anytime and speak to them. They're not afraid to pick up the phone, even to speak to me personally on my mobile phone. So they will find us even in not social hours. Most of the people work from 9 to 5, for example. With our organization, people can speak to me even 9 o'clock in the evening. It's not a problem.
So in a way, you're more than a teacher, aren't you? You're more than someone who's providing training. You're providing advice. You're providing support. You're almost becoming a universal social worker.
At the moment, I'm not just working as a teacher. I've got teachers who's delivering this. What I'm doing is I'm organizing. I'm getting the teachers who's passionate, helping the people. I look at the quality assurance because I can't do everything. So I've got a good team delivering our mission. So I've got a team of advisors. They've got a team of counselors. They've got teams of welfare students can support the students. Um, yeah, so it's not just me. I can't be delivering everything, but I oversee everything. I and the other trustees as well to make sure the provision runs smoothly. We handle any complaints, and if any shortage of anything, we can step in and deliver that until we get someone else to deliver this.
So you've got yourself, you've got a few people who are central to your staff, not a huge number, and you depend on people who are freelance. You depend on a lot of volunteers as well. And
yeah,
I'm right in saying, you offer everything free?
We offer volunteering, and volunteering is quite essential to our services as well, and is mutually beneficial. They benefit and we benefit as well. So we make sure all our volunteers, when they come to us, they have a lot of free training, essential training, CPD training. They get certificates. They make sure they get they accommodated. They love to be with us because they can be shadow qualified staff to get experience, to get a reference, to speak to others, to come out, to feel empowered by helping some people, by sharing their skills. And we actually value this as well.
Where do you find your volunteers from?
Word of mouth is a lot, and also from Do It website, and also in our website. Our website is even there's got volunteering application form, and we're doing work experience as well for the schools, for the school children. We're doing work experience for anybody who wants us to get in different fields, but they don't have experience. Like for someone who wants us to do customer service, they don't have experience. We can provide that. It doesn't need to be in our organization. We work closely in partnership with other different organizations and different employers, which they can support our people as well by giving them work experience, they're giving them volunteering opportunity, and sometimes it leads to job. All these opportunities, volunteering opportunities. From my own experience, volunteering is a good thing because the most of my staff we have, they started volunteer and we then improve that they're good, we give them the job. So I would recommend the people in the community to volunteer.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting model. You have volunteers and you work in partnership with other organizations. And I mean, that's a model that some people don't do. They want to do it all themselves.
No.
But you work in partnership. So how important is that partnership? I mean, for example, you talk about abuse and women suffering abuse. Do you work with groups like Women's Centre in Enfield? Do you work with groups like that? How do you develop those partnerships?
A partnership for us is very important. It's paramount in our job. We can't work alone. We work with everybody, even if it's just to share information, to share knowledge. We work with a lot of community groups. It doesn't need to be just in Enfield. We work with even with people in Islington, people in Haringey, people in Newham, people in. So as an organization, we work with anybody who's willing to come and work with us hand in hand. So we have lots of experience with in partnership with community organization, with employers. We work with a lot of care homes as well. We're providing the people some training as well. And we work with schools. School is very important for us, and community children's center, because they are engaging with women as well, and they can refer them to us as well. We work with job centers as well. So a partnership, it can be in a strategic base, and it can be as well by sharing resources, sharing experience, meeting, talking about a lot of things. So working with social services, working with councils, working with voluntary action groups, right? So a partnership is very, very important in our job.
It sounds like you've got a huge job on. I wonder how you get any sleep with all the work you're doing. It's amazing. But I mean, you've got a number of programs, aren't you? You work with young people, for example. Now, what do you offer them? Do you offer them just training, or do you help them with issues that they may face in the community, like drugs and knife crime, for example?
We are very passionate about tackling knife crime. So we're doing this through mothers. So we are actually working with mothers a lot. We have come something called networking women, Horizon networking groups, and we educated the mother, and the mother actually share this knowledge with their own children, because a lot of mothers comes to us, they're concerned, especially a lot of women in Edmonton, specifically Edmonton. They're concerned about the violence outside, and they're scared about on the children as well. So we actually started to talk, and we have a lot of talk in our groups about it as well. But in terms of younger people now, in years, you can see in our website, we're really keen to work with young people. At the moment, we used to work with schools. We provide work experience for the school, secondary school children. That's one thing. Secondly, we doing some advice and guidance for younger people from 18 years old. And also we're doing some internship, apprenticeship, and traineeship. We used to do that a lot. But at the moment, we're working with something, the scheme is called Kickstart Scheme. And Kickstart Scheme is proven it's a very good scheme. We had lots of good people from Kickstart, and they actually showing they're capable. So a lot of employers, they're scared to give younger people opportunities because of lack of experience and stuff. But I said, no, from what I've seen now, there's a lot of young people, they're proving they're very good, and they're mature as well, and you can rely on them.
Yeah, so
if you give them opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, so you work with young people, you help provide them with opportunities.
We always work with young people.
You don't just work with individuals, do you? You work with communities, because you have a community support service as well, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Do you want to tell us about that?
We have our outreach worker, and we also call her a community support worker. This community support worker work with groups, social services, work with younger people who live in care and they need support. We actually work with them, especially with job center program for care leavers, younger people. So we actually engaged in this kind of activities as well. So the support worker providing as a one-to-one, it can be like advice and monitoring. Also provide the younger people as well to come to our skills classes or skills training classes as well. If we can't do if the younger people come to us and we can't provide anything, we always cross referral. We do the cross referrals to others as well, other organizations.
You also mentioned, I think earlier, that you know, because you live in areas where there is poverty, there's also a lot of loneliness. You mentioned that. I mean, do you do anything, or do you have any service that can help those people who are feeling lonely, and that you can try and connect them with other people?
Yes, we actually thought about it. We have just got funding from People's Health Trust. Is to engage with women who's facing loneliness, to come to us, and we have already a group. It's called Women Horizon Groups, and this is every Friday we run that group, and this is just open activities for women to come to us for 3 hours to do whatever they like, whatever they think of. They are in leading of these activities. So we are running that project, and we'll kick off, and now it's like a piloting now, because we're going to start face-to-face. Now it's running online on Zoom, but from September, we're going to be starting that face-to-face. So women will meet twice a week, and they do like networking, coffee club, and to do some activities different from mainstream, like accredited qualifications and training.
Okay, so the other thing I mean, the other thing that you do as well, isn't it? You work with migrant communities. I mean, there are people who live here, who've been here a long time, but there are migrant communities that come in and they have particular problems. I mean, what's the sort of work you do with migrant communities?
All the time. We actually started to work with the first thing we do. Our co-program is first thing to provide ESOL. ESOL is an English for people who don't speak English and just come from abroad, and they have limited knowledge of the language, and they have we provide an employability to enable them to develop the English skills, employability skills, and the computer skills, and advice and guidance skills to enable them to be more job ready, plus advice for domestic violence, plus advice on how to get into jobs, how to change careers, how to make their qualification recognized, what other opportunities available to them and they're not aware of it, to come and engage with other women, sharing other women experience, talking to each other, make friendship. Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, friendship and linking with people in their own communities is really important. So, I mean, you do two things. You help them to integrate, you help them to
develop the skills
and
access services and develop, and as well, they engage and they develop social skills as well.
Okay. And how do you find the migrant community? Do you find them through government departments, through social workers, or do they just come to you?
Well, how people get to us, word of mouth. Word of mouth, and because we've been helping in the community since 2011, so we don't do much marketing because we already got lots of people knows about us. Today, we had a phone call from someone in Scotland. She wants us to get some employability advice and guidance for free. So people get to know us now from word of mouth. People tell each other. Before we used to run in the library, and people access the library with thousands of people, and the library used to tell them about our services. Now we work with communities, and the communities now we actually active in the community. We work with social services. We work with job centers. We sometimes when we started, we used to give flyers, but at the moment we don't do any more flyers because we already have lots of beneficiaries come to us and they know about us. And people tell each other. If you need anything, go to skills and training. They will help you. They will do this. So now we don't do much marketing. However, we still have our rich worker to liaise with mainstream provisions, to work with NHS to refer people who are suffering from mental health illness and they need integration. So we run some programs for them. So we get engaged with them. We get engaged with homeless team in the borough, because we help in a lot of people who's homeless to fill them application form, different applications form as well. People with disability as well, we help them as well. So we actually help in wide number of people in the community who's suffering from different things.
So how big a problem is a mental health one? When people go through the problems they do and the stress that they do, mental health must be a real issue. I mean, what can you do to help them there? Do you refer them on, or can you help in any way yourself?
First of all, we're running something called health and well-being programs in our which is integrated in everything. We embed in health and well-being in our even accredited training. So we tell the teachers all the time, make sure you give some elements for health and well-being. Talk about, for example, socializing, making friendship, take them out, encourage them to talk to each other, encourage some positive integration. So that's what we do as well. Our doors is open as well. The new program we're running right now is Horizon Women Networking. That is meant to be helping in health and developing health and well-being for women. But we're working with a lot of organizations who's actually doing developing health and well-being, like mine, for example. So we refer a lot of people as well to mine programs, mine charities, and we refer them to some NHS as well if they find them they really need some support. Sometimes we accompany some people to their own GB because they can't speak the language and they need to express themselves. So we do some interpretation as well for them.
And what about the issue you also mentioned earlier about domestic abuse? I mean, is that a problem that has been growing, especially during the pandemic? And I mean, how could you, especially in times of the pandemic, how have you been able to help women who are, and men sometimes, but mainly women who've, you know, faced abuse?
You already answered the question, to be honest. You know, during the pandemic, domestic violence increased massively, and we already faced that. And we've been very lucky. We had some funding from Rosa funding to tackle this. Anybody who's got domestic violence to come to us. And even now, we're still running that project. So from your program now, any women facing Indian domestic violence, please contact me personally, and I'm happy to help them and advise them.
Okay. I mean, we're getting close to the end of the 30 minutes now, but obviously a large part of the work you do is about employability and work skills training. I mean, how do you measure your success in that? I mean, for example, do you know how many people you get in jobs and who stay permanently in jobs?
We actually provide employability support training, and that's what we meant to do when we set up, by providing accredited training to make them come closer, by providing volunteering work placement. In the last, during the pandemic, that we're facing a lot of jobs cuts, jobs cuts. So, and we tried hard to work with women with our resources, limited resources, and we actually maintain to help women and to help the people in the community to make them, enable them. In terms of how many people will get into jobs in the last years, it's about 25 people only.
Is that because it's difficult finding jobs because of the pandemic?
It's because of the pandemic and cuts full of jobs. Before, I can tell you, we used to do a lot of people get into jobs and work placement. But during the pandemic, it was quite hard. But hopefully we'll catch up soon as well. But if we didn't achieve, for example, employment target, but we achieved all the target in terms of skilling people and gives them the skills and training and also helping them to integrate and developing social skills.
So, you know, if fingers crossed, if the pandemic comes to an end at some point, how do you see your future developing when you're free to meet people up and you're free to maybe get people in jobs? How are you going to develop? Have you got a plan for the future?
Yes, we have a plan. We have a strong plan. First, we're going to apply for funding just for employability training, because we can see now there's a lot of people become, after furlough, we lost their jobs, and they really need desperate to get into jobs. And a lot of people in the sectors, they can't go back to the same work again. So there's going to be a lot of challenges, and they really need support. And some people used to work in some jobs for 20 years. They don't even have basic CV. They don't know how to apply for jobs. So we're going to include job search sessions for free to come to our center to use our computers to access digital skills training, to access computers, to access internet, to apply for jobs, right? So we have as well, we providing as well qualified career advisor and employability trainers, and we provide one-to-one and a group session as well.
Okay.
So we're going to be ready from September when we're going to start to go back and meet people face to face.
Okay, so you're incredibly busy, and you're going to be even busier when, you know, things sort of change and the pandemic's over. So, you know, if anybody wanted to,
I'm not that busy. I've got my team working with me.
Yeah,
they're just planning for September to start and go back again, and planning the project, planning the program, and everything. That is taking a little bit of time, but I think we should be fine.
Okay, so if anybody wanted to contact you and find out more about what you do, how would they go about doing that?
Exactly. So first of all the contact details in our website, www.sntnetwork.org.uk, or they can contact me on 07 50-761-4843. That's my contact number. They can contact me anytime. I will answer them, whatever they need. I will support them, or I can refer them to my team. They can support them. Then I will follow up as well to see if this person has been accommodated or not. Right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But
So
all the contact details, all the emails, they really need it. Even the direct email address for our admin, even for me, is in the website.
we sort of come to the end of our 30 minutes now, and you do one heck of a job. I mean, you do a lot of work, and you must be overwhelmed with the
No, but we're happy. We're
Yeah.
happy. We get used to this. We're really happy.
Yeah.
And people appreciating the community. The more people appreciate, and the more we see people achieving and integrating and empower we feel good. We feel okay. We are fine.
Yeah, well, that's great. Anyhow, we're going to have to end this formal part of the interview now. So, I mean, thank you for doing it. Thank you for all the work you're doing.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for everything.
I hope people who want to learn about you and can help you in any way.
Everything in our website.
Yeah, I hope they do get in touch with you. So
please share our website with them.
Yeah, okay. They should go to your website and then they can find out.
www.sntnetwork.org.uk, and there's a lot of information in the website.
Okay, so they could go there and they can find out about you. Okay, well, thanks a lot for doing this, Sue.
You're welcome.
And we'll finish this interview.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's a good opportunity, and it's a pleasure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll finish this interview now.
Thank you.